been working with what I call multi-center turning. I'm not calling it multi-axis because I stay, everything is in the same parallel plane, but it's running different centers. It's real high-tech because we're going to use plain old screw center tonight. One of the easiest things to have enough room to get around with the multiple centers on the back. Played around with a little bit, come up with some right interesting patterns. Brought a couple of them along, pass these around. Some of them are 3-sided, 4-sided. One squirrely did a 6-sided one. It is I've determined that 8 is as far as I'm going to go, and it's going to have to be a pretty big one before I get 8 in on it. But I've picked 3, 4, 6, or 8 because they're very easy to lay out. And I'm natural born lazy. Obviously, you've got one center right in the center of the piece. And then I draw a circle, generally slightly less than half the diameter of the piece. No magic to it. It could be a little more, it could be a little less. Pardon?
What is that?
Maple. Piece of green maple. I decided to use a piece of green wood since it was a concept piece to see what I'd actually end up with. It warped a little bit. It's a little bit out of round, and I really didn't care. I liked the way it turned out.
Color.
I'm beginning to like this free wood thing.
Free is good. Twice the price is still a good deal.
Yes. For those of you that might not remember high school geometry, the 3 centers and the 6 centers is very easy to lay out because when you draw your circle, if you just take the compass set at that radius and walk it around the circle, it will automatically divide it into 6 equal segments. Very accurate. 4, draw a line through the center, throw a square up on it. If you want to get real fancy, well, you can take a compass and draw the bisector for it, but throwing a square up seems to work very well. As far as 8 goes, you just draw a 4 and then split it in half and walk it around again. Like I say, 8's as far as I'm going to go. It's going to have to be a real big piece to basically support the 8 segments. What you do with it after you get the thing laid out, drill the piece. Drill it to work on your screw chuck. And I think the screw chuck's the easiest thing to use. This face has to be flat. That's when you go in your screw chuck, where it bottoms on the outside is where you get, in truth, your gripping power. That's what holds things from spinning around and flying off the blade. This has got to be flat. If you have the other side flat, it sure helps so that you're drilling straight holes. If you got it like I do and you got a little divot on the end, you throw a board under it, it still brings it up flat. I have not tried putting these holes in the dangles. I don't even want to know what to after when you try that. It's going to be a long time till I run out of variations if I want to try anything different from that. It's there's no rocket science here, I think. In fact, I know everybody's got a screw chuck. They may not recognize it because it may be a piece of plywood and a number 10 or a number 12 wood screw, but it can be basically that elementary. Screw a piece of plywood on your faceplate, screw through the center of it. If you don't have a screw chuck, most of the chucks are sold with a screw with them. If you're like me, most of us look at that thing and say, well, gee, I don't know where it fits. It doesn't seem to go in the chuck anyplace. I just save it now for a little bit later. And that the screw chuck, in truth, was what was used extensively before the advent of the scroll chucks. So there's no rocket science here. I'm just reverting. Gotten that all out of the way, then I'll stop treating you my fine melodious voice. Let's see if we can make some chips.
That help?
Once I get it mounted, first thing I want to do is to trim my diameter. I just got this funny thing about things going bump in the night, and that lets me get my diameters established so I have an idea where I'm headed with this thing. Second thing I want to do is chew up my face. Cheap shot.
I was gonna say, his face looks fine like it is.
Good job. That was.
One more time. At this point in time, if I was going to go after something that I was going to seriously figure I was going to try and make something out of, I would sand a portion of this face, as much of it as I'm not going to disturb, as you're not going to have another good chance to do it. Figure out what size you want to turn little swoops going down in. That's real tough to get them uniform. Take a pencil. Draw a circle. Because my eye isn't that good. I can't. When it starts to go eccentric, I cannot follow around here and try and get into the same place. It just isn't going to happen. Once you've got that basic setup, which one of you's got the face mask and catch?
I thought you were gonna hold it this time too.
I thought I'd be a nice fella and demonstrate that there is another way of doing it besides letting it spin out of your hands.
So you've only thrown every other one out of like.
So far I haven't tossed one yet.
That's right, yeah. Good spot.
You should have seen the front head trying to turn the wheel or spinning wheel on the outboard side. The leg was bouncing along the floor.
Now we're running eccentric here. Don't try and adjust your tool rest with one. Because this eccentric edge is running around and it's merely a shadow. You can't really see where it is. Shut the lathe off to adjust the tool rest. And make sure that you keep your hands on the tailstock side. What's on the tailstock side doesn't hurt. What's on the headstock side requires band-aids, splints, and tears.
Hear that,
Ed, what speed are you running that at?
I'm running a 450 right now, which is probably about as fast as I want to go with the eccentricity. In fact, I may be a tad faster than I want to run.
I don't think I'm going anywhere.
It don't go any
Somebody can sit on the bottom.
slower. Lean on that for me, Dave.
No, I
Yeah.
got some sand bags.
Ah.
Your leg's a bit heavier than mine.
Yeah.
You guys leaving? I thought you guys made the front seat here.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Doesn't become available.
yeah, this quick exit.
Think it'd come out?
I think what I'm gonna do is, try to bring back each of them off. Good point. Good point. You're exactly right. I'll have a chance to do it later. Pardon?
I thought you were hitting on the banjo.
It comes under the headings of, you should never do this when you're doing a demo.
It only happens during dinner.
I got some light bulbs at home, drill holes in the floor. Legal.
Could you move your?
Okay, we had, the way you danced around quite a bit when I went as far off center as I did. Tried taking some off the face, some off the diameter to get it calmed down. That wasn't working. So we've re-drilled the back of it, taking some of the eccentricity out of it. Relayed it out. That's as quick as you can drill it. Doesn't take long at all. It's not perfect right now, but I think it's close enough I can get away with it.
Can't slow it down any further than what it is.
Well, it's dancing on me just a tad.
It was starting to work.
How fast would you be turning that at home?
I'd be going about 350.
If you get much off of that screen, it turns dark anyway. So. More light can't hurt.
Make sure that screw's locked up on the good salt. It's age in the morning if it's not.
I got one of those lights too.
And are you turning this new section directly opposite 180 degrees from the one you just turned?
No. No, this is going to have 3,
Oh, 3, okay.
so I'm 120 degrees out of phase. And to do this, you've got to like interrupted cuts. Yes, it will be interrupted at some point. The big secret with that, wait for the wood to come to you. If you try pushing the chisel in, it's going to push the chisel back, and then you're going to be sawing. And it's going to look like a round-toothed beaver went in there to try and make a cut for it. Just wait for the wood to come around. It'll eventually get there, and it'll knock it off and smooth things out pretty well.
So when you turn in that recess, you turn it to that pencil line that you're,
I tried.
can you see the pencil line?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of, sort of. Essentially, you get up close to it and then stop the lathe and see how close you are to the pencil line. But it gives you a good gauge. This one I went a little over on the pencil line right now. So we're gonna have to make a little bit of a flying adjustment here. Okay, I've got 2 of them in essentially the same depth, following the same contour around, and that's all just grabbing the chisel and let it pivot. Let you run relatively the same contour all the way around. 2 down, 1 to go.
Yeah. Lazy you sand and finish it. them all turned and then put them back in the same hole or what?
I would, if I were doing this right now for finish, I would have sanded the first one before I went to the second one. I would try and sand the second one as much as I could before I go to the third. Because once you get into the interruption, it doesn't like being sanded all that well. So consequently, you make
Like those square edge molds, they don't like being sanded either.
Yeah, it's like sanding the food processor.
Real careful.
so as smooth a cut as you can make. You'll appreciate that when it comes time to sand things out. Oh, watch your way.
Oh my goodness. I got that on tape. Yeah, and I don't want to see that again.
This is the last hole you want.
You'll have to rerun it.
I'm gonna put armor on this. I'm gonna put armor on. Now, at that point in time, I've got the trefoil formed. Only question now becomes, what do you want to do with the center? Those pieces that ran around, there's one that was dished out, there's one that was flat across, there's one that came up in points. There's probably a half a dozen variations I haven't thought of. That's the only thing you have to decide right now is, now what do I want to do with it?
So you do the center after you do all the other cuts, yeah?
After I do the other cuts, then I do the center.
At what point do you finish the back and bottom?
After I have the face done, then what I'm going to do is remount in the center. Turn the center. I've got good clearance so I can cut away the majority of the back. And at that point in time, then I run with the coal or jumbo jaws, as they're called, to grasp on the face of the piece to finish off the back of it. Got a vacuum chuck, it can be done with a vacuum chuck, it can be done with a jam chuck. Just however, whatever suits you, off you go with it. So now we've got this thing tamed down a little bit, let's see what we can do with it.
Not smooth.
This is going to be an interrupted cut right from the get-go. And then as you get down to that center, it becomes a cut all the way around, and again, very tame and nice and easy.
At this point, do you have any idea how much wood you have between the bottom of the bowl at the present time and the end of the screw?
Yes, I've got an idea. I know that I've drilled my screw holes slightly over an inch, so they're going to be about in there. That ought to be a safe place to be. So I've still got plenty that I can go in.
What size is your anchor bolts there? 3/8?
Yes.
I suggest you go to a 1/2 inch or 5/8 if it's gonna be mean like it was a while ago.
Probably not a bad idea at all.
Can you sand that now? Ed,
Sir?
can you sand that now? Sand the rest of that?
Yeah. I'm actually going to go a little bit straighter cut, clean these divots out, and we'll be in pretty good shape. Let's see if I got it. define that rim for whatever it wants to be, so you start to go around the back side. What I've tried to do with all those pieces is to make sure that I had a uniform wall thickness here and a uniform wall thickness, and once I've got my slope running in. It doesn't matter for spit, it's just something I like personally to have. Now we'll go ahead and clean a little bit of this off. I'm not gonna bore the ears off everybody turning the back off this thing. We've all done what we're seeing it done. Right now, I'm starting right in here with a relatively uniform thickness, following down with that inside slope. And from there on, say finish the back, we can cut right deep in here because we've got plenty of clearance for that chuck. Doesn't leave you a great deal to clean up. Turn it around, reverse chuck it with a jumbo or cold jaws. Use a vacuum chuck. Use a jam chuck. Whatever suits you, or whatever you happen to have. Clean it up. Questions? Comments outside of the fact that I scared the fool out of everybody?